Okay, let's jump right into this deep dive. We've pulled together quite a collection of sources focusing on learning how to drive,
Right.
and specifically all the language, the vocabulary that comes with it. Really useful if you're learning English, actually.
Yeah, and what the sources show us is, well, it's a really unique angle. It's not just the mechanics, how the car works.
Mm-hmm.
It's this mix of practical, step-by-step stuff, very specific words, terminology,
Sure.
and just that very human thing of getting good at a totally new skill.
Exactly. So our mission today, basically, is to zero in on the key bits. We want to get the main vocabulary down, understand the process someone goes through,
Surety, yeah.
and figure out why learning to drive is, kind of surprisingly, such a good way to build language skills.
Mm-hmm.
And the real hook, I think, it shows how learning something practical isn't just about the skill, it opens up a whole new way to talk about the world in English.
Well, the sources really stress that globally, learning to drive is a massive step for people.
Yeah, a big milestone.
It's fundamentally about independence, freedom. Often it's just necessary, isn't it? For work, school, family stuff.
And for English learners, the sources make it clear. This turns driving lessons into a great sort of practical classroom.
Right.
It's not abstract theory. It's hands-on. You pick up useful words, you practice conversations people have, well, millions of times every day.
Exactly. It grounds the language learning in something so many people actually do.
A shared experience.
And that journey, um, according to what we've read, it really kicks off with making the decision.
Right.
And that often brings, excitement, sure, but also quite a bit of nervousness.
Oh, totally relatable. I remember that feeling. It sets the scene for the prep phase.
Mm-hmm.
The sources go into the details,
Yeah.
age limits, getting that learner's permit, studying, taking the written test.
And right away, that preparation just immerses you in key language. You're dealing with traffic laws, road signs.
Yeah.
The sources actually point out words like yield, intersection, speed limit right away. And here's a neat insight from the sources.
Uh-huh.
These aren't just like driving jargon.
Right.
They're really basic English words that you see all over the place. So that early study, surprisingly helpful for just general vocabulary.
Right. They kind of leap off the sign and into everyday life. The sources also mention how you might learn. Maybe a driving school, prose, textbooks.
Or really family or friends teaching you.
Yeah. Either way, you still have to learn the specific language, the instructions, how to talk about being safe.
And handling those nerves at the start, that's key. The sources definitely acknowledge the anxiety, the worry about messing up.
Like stalling, especially with a manual car.
Exactly, stalling. They even give examples of things instructors might say, take a deep breath, or you're doing fine, which aren't just calming. They're good phrases to practice hearing and understanding when you're a bit stressed. Language practice right there.
Okay, so now you're actually in the car. The sources give us the language for the car itself, those first actions. You've got the steering wheel.
Makes sense, right. Use it to steer, to change direction.
Simple enough.
And seeing clearly is vital. So, the mirrors. The rear view mirror inside, in the middle.
Looking back. Rear, meaning back. Yeah.
Right, the sources clarify that, and then the ones on the doors, the side view mirrors.
Got it. Essential distinctions. Now, the sources bring up something interesting. Manual versus automatic cars.
Ah, yes.
If you're learning manual, you meet the clutch.
The clutch, yeah. That third pedal, way over on the left, you needed to change gears yourself.
But automatics don't have one.
Nope, they do the gear shifting for you. And the sources mention manuals are pretty common in Europe, maybe for fuel economy, maybe easier maintenance,
Interesting.
whereas automatics are much more the norm in America. It's a little cultural thing right there in the car's mechanics.
Fascinating how language even reflects that. And the real basics. You accelerate to go faster.
Step on the gas, some might say informally.
True. And you step on the brakes to slow down or stop.
So, building on that, the sources get into the language of actual maneuvers,
Yeah.
instructions. This is where words directly connect to actions.
Like you start the car, not really turn it on, as the sources point out,
Good distinction.
and to switch it off. Stop the engine or stop the car.
And if you're in that manual, getting going has specific words. Step on the clutch, then shift to first gear.
Shift, right.
And shift, the sources explain, means moving through the gears. Neutral, first, second, third,
Yeah.
and 1, 2, 3. Neutral's for when you're stopped.
And what about stopping but like on the side of the road? If there's a problem or police.
Yes. That's pull over.
Pull over.
The sources give examples. Police might tell you pull over. Or you might pull over to use your phone safely, hands-free. Or even, need the restroom urgently. It's specifically for stopping off the main road.
Makes sense.
And during lessons, instructors use a whole set of commands. The sources list typical ones. Keep your eyes on the road, adjust your seat, put the car in drive.
All action-based.
Exactly. Press the brake gently. Check your blind spot. Signal before turning. Keep to the right. Getting these down in real time is, well, it's vital for driving and for understanding spoken English quickly.
The sources also pulled out some great phrases and idioms, maybe not directly about steering, but about the whole experience.
Right, like hearing something a million times.
Yeah, I use that one.
We all do. The sources make it clear it's hyperbole, right?
Yeah.
Exaggeration. You didn't literally hear it that many times, just a lot.
Many, many times, like hearing a story over and over.
Exactly. A perfect example of how we exaggerate in everyday English. And then there's that really dramatic one from a source dialogue. They'll never take me alive.
Woo, okay.
That's a strong one. The sources explain its roots, someone running from the law, meaning they'd rather die than be caught.
Right.
But, importantly, the sources note it's often used less literally now. Just means, like, they won't catch me. A real statement of defiance. You hear it in movies sometimes.
Okay, got it. So these phrases add flavor. Moving on to the core learning part. The sources describe it as just practice, 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 building confidence.
This is where all those words and instructions really stick. Through repetition, learners are doing it, stopping at stop signs, turning, changing lanes, parking, over and over.
And what's really cool in the sources is how practicing the driving skill also locks in the language.
Yeah.
Phrases like adjust your seat, press the brake gently. You're linking the English words directly to moving your body.
And understanding instructions on the fly, check your blind spot, signal before turning, that becomes crucial. For safety, obviously, but also for getting better at understanding English in real dynamic moments.
And mistakes. They're not just driving errors, they're language moments, too.
Totally. The sources talk about common things, forgetting to signal, braking too hard. And the instructor gives simple feedback, try to slow down sooner, or don't forget to look over your shoulder. Those little corrections, they reinforce the rule and the right words.
Practice areas scale up, too, right? You don't start on a busy motorway.
God, no. You start quiet. Parking lots, maybe quiet streets. Then gradually into real traffic.
More cars, lights, people.
Unexpected stuff. And, the sources point out, these tougher situations build calmness, quick thinking, and they expose you to more language. New signs, more complex instructions, talking about what's happening.
Understanding why you do things is also a language piece. The sources explain why stop fully at a stop sign or why not tailgate.
Right. And then introduces safety words. Hazard, distance, reaction time, even emergency brake. It's not just rules. It's grasping the concepts behind them, using the language.
So as you get more practice, the sources say confidence grows.
Right, definitely. Hands and eyes start working together better, watching the road, mirrors, signs, other cars. You start thinking like a driver.
And your ears get better tuned to the English instructions.
Yeah, you start feeling able to ask your own questions like, should I turn here? Or what does that sign mean?
Now, the sources also had some unexpected bits, anecdotes that really make you think. I was intrigued by the mention of learning driving skills from video games.
Yes, that was fascinating. And they tied it to this wild story about a 7-year-old boy.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about that one.
So this kid, 7 years old, takes his dad's car, drives it remarkably well. The sources wonder if maybe game simulators played a role.
Incredibly.
Gets chased by the police, but manages to drive home, pull over neatly at his own house, and just runs inside.
Oh, way.
And the sources specifically noted the police said he drove very, very well. Just wow.
Unbelievable. It really shows how skills and language can come from anywhere, sometimes really unexpected places.
It really does.
So let's wrap this up. Summing up this deep dive, what's the main thing we've learned? Learning to drive based on these sources, it's so much more than just handling a car.
Absolutely.
It's this microcosm of real-life language use. It pulls together technical words, commands, feelings, even cultural things like the manual versus automatic difference.
And looking at the big picture for you, the listener, it's a powerful example of how mastering a practical skill can actually be a really dynamic way to build confidence and fluency. Using language in real time, in real situations.
Active learning, integrated learning.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. And maybe a final thought for you to chew on. Think about other things you do every day, maybe almost without thinking. Cooking from a recipe, putting together furniture, even just explaining something simple to someone. All those activities are packed with specific language, could sort of consciously breaking down those actions, like we've done with driving, give you new practical ways to practice and really deepen your grasp of English.